I wrote the first draft of In the Heights not because I was getting paid a dime for it, but because I had to. It was this thing that was sort of in me, and I applied for the space. I got a theater space, and then was like, okay, I have to write the show now. And I sort of wrote about everything I know. I wrote about, my family. I wrote about the neighborhood I grew up in. I wrote using the kind of music that I grew up listening to. All of those, all those albums, Luis Guerra and Rubén Blades, and Combo, and Gilberto Santa Rosa. That's what I grew up listening to, and I wanted to write music that told stories as well as those songwriters tell stories, but on stage. So, a dreamer? I guess so. I consider myself really a bored little kid who always needed something to do. I mean, even when I would sit at home and watch TV, my parents both worked a lot, and so I was very self-entertained.
Yeah.
Little kid. I always needed to be doing something. Even when I was little, I always felt like, I'm not doing anything. We got to do something.
So how does your passion for arts begin?
Since I was little, when I was little, I wanted to be Steven Spielberg when I grew up. I wanted to create, worlds, and I saw Return of the Jedi, and I used to have this young Jedi certificate on my wall, and I just, I wanted to make movies. I loved being transported by movies, and I wanted to be a part of that, and I never imagined doing anything else. What I think is my major success. The day that the posters went up, and it was one of those days where it's like, this is really happening. This isn't just like me and my friends playing. This isn't me and Tommy Kail talking in a basement somewhere. This is going to be something, and other people are going to see it, and that's really exciting. Like that group we had yesterday, that was we had a group of kids come see the show, and this was their first musical, and I love that we can be the first musical for this group of kids, and they're going to be, they're never going to forget that, because I'll never forget the first time I saw a show. And, it's exciting to be that for other people.
So for people that wants to do stuff like this, like other young kids that are bored in their room and think they're just probably wasting time, and now they see a great example like you and say, well, maybe I can do something out of it. What were the steps that you had to take to make this happen?
Well, you can't stop. I mean, you have to keep doing what it is you want to be doing. I mean, it's funny, like my dad always wanted me to be a lawyer, and he was always like, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a lawyer, and I was like, okay, and I would always say okay, but then I would go off and do whatever I wanted. So you can't stop doing what it is you're passionate about, and that will find itself in you, if you have to keep doing something, you just have to keep doing it.
Right.
That's what will happen. I mean, it will choose you. You sit back and do what you want to do, and it'll.
And inside of that you want to do, what was your biggest obstacle to make it happen?
Oh, I think the biggest obstacles I had were really just it's always finding people who share it and finding collaborators, and I think I was able to write this musical because. When I wrote the first draft, it was the first time I had a group of Latino friends who were the same age and who'd had the same experiences as me, and having that gave me permission to say, okay, I can write about this, and this is a valid experience to put on the stage, and I think it's about finding other people who share your goals and clinging to them for dear life, because this is hard enough. It's better when you have collaborators and other people to work with.
Yeah. So about the fact that you did over 100 performances without being able to see your own work.
It was very surreal, and it was very humbling, and I felt very proud because you choose your collaborators hoping that they're on the same page as you, and I implicitly trust Tommy Kail and Andy Blankenbuehler, and so I knew they were trying to make the best show that we could possibly make, and so. Really seeing the show was a confirmation of that. It was like, this is incredible, and I was glad I was able to trust them to be the eyes of the show, because they
3 areas you feel in the show that were more challenging to you.
Robin de Jesus. I think originally I had written everything. I'd written the book, music, and lyrics, and we realized that I couldn't do that, be in the show, and stay sane. And while I was writing the show, when it was just me, it was turning into an opera, because I love writing the music and lyrics so much. But we didn't really want to write an opera. We wanted a full integrated musical. So part of it is really just saying, okay, this is not my field, and finding collaborators that you can trust. And when we we found Kiara. We were so lucky to find her because I really, as soon as I met her, I felt like it was a kindred spirit, and we had the same upbringing. Her in Philly, me in New York, and so that was very exciting. And you know, wearing the hats is not the hard part. Not scrambling the hats is the hard part. So you can't bring any of the writer part of your brain with you on stage. Otherwise you're ruined. And you can't sit in the audience mouthing the lines, otherwise you're not watching the show. So it's really about keeping the hats separate.
You know, you were also a teacher. Let's say you see this kid daydreaming and like being probably like you were, and like in your own world just developing something that you have no clue what's going on in his head. What would you say to that kid today?
Well, I mean, I would certainly recognize myself in the kid, but at the same time, I'm here mainly because my 8th grade English teacher told me, you're a good writer, you should try to write plays, and he sort of gave me permission to do that. So I would probably tell the kid, where's your homework?
That's awesome. Do you think you have created a revolution for musical theater and for the Latino theater?
You know, I think the musical theater is always as good as its last show, and I think the kind of music I wanted to write was I wanted to write contemporary music, and I wanted to use contemporary music to tell a story, and I think we've thrown our little tiny pebble in the pond, and I think we'll see what ripples it makes, and that's for other people to figure out. I think our job is to write the best show possible, and we see, I can certainly point to the shows I've seen that inspired me and influenced the way I write.
Like, for example?
West Side Story was a huge influence for me.
How?
The integration of music and lyrics and dance, I still don't think it's been done better than West Side Story in terms of the way it heightens.
How do you feel about the fact that it represented the Latino, but it created this stereotype of a certain Latino that for years we have to be and represent?
I think West Side Story is our greatest gift and our greatest curse. On the one hand, it created so many job opportunities for Latinos and got our foot in the door. There was no musical about Puerto Ricans before that, believe me, and it's great that we're part of a masterpiece, and it really is a masterpiece.
It is.
And, you know, but at the same time, we have to evolve and we have to change it. We say, okay, that was the 50s, those were street gangs and Hell's Kitchen in the 50s. What else can we be? And that's what I feel like my job was. I mean, I wanted to write the kind of show I would want to be in, and the kind of show Latinos would be proud to be in, as another big musical with Latinos in it.
So what is your mission? What is your mission?
My mission is always to tell the story, and whatever story that happens to be. With this one, it was Washington Heights, and it's very personal because it comes from where I grew up. But your mission is to do justice to the story. The biggest thing to be afraid of is. Well, if you're doing honest work, I think there's nothing you can be afraid of. I mean, the audience will love it or will hate it, but as long as you're proud of what you put out there, you're going to sleep at night. So.
How hard was it to dance on stage?
It wasn't that hard. Andy made me feel very taken care of, and people were dancing around me, and you know, I had enough salsa training to sort of know I was going to be able to get by. I can find the dance.
You know, because we got a lot of actors that don't always continually train in the dancing departments, and they get a show like this where they really have to like move extremely well. What would you say to those people?
I would say, get your ass to the gym.
You know what? You're so cool. I just want to do like this game with you. I want to say I do a dímelo cantando, because I know you are also a freestyler and you have an amazing talent for that. So really quickly, I'm gonna give you 4 words, and you're gonna freestyle if you can with that right away. And one is composer.
Composer. I'm just trying to switch my flows up. I hit a higher note than Eden Espinosa, but oh no, I stuttered and then I froze up. And okay, Mama Rose, I'm ready for my close up.
Writer,
yeah, I'm excited, and I'm just trying not to be a rhyme biter, but no, I'm gonna keep on writing it, making up, and even if I shake it up, I know I'll earthquake it up.
Dreamer,
oh please believe it, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be like a star screamer, like a supernova, until the game is over, and yes, I'm rapping to you even though I'm far from sober.
R.Evolución Latina.
Revolución Latina, más fina, divina, hasta que mi espina se rompa. I don't know what that means, a compa. Just get open the pompa and fucking... Alright.